All right, welcome back. We'll talk about the Steelers' offense. To me, it doesn't look any better than what we saw at the end of Randy Fichtner. Paul Zeise, what's your take on Matt Canada, especially at the goal line? We've seen this repeat itself over and over again, and without a PI, that would have been another situation where they get 0 after the Miles Killebrew block punt. Is this Matt Canada offense good enough to survive in the NFL?
No, I mean, it's a terrible. I think I wrote about this last week. It's a terrible offense from the standpoint of I don't know what the infatuation is with passing the ball sideways, passing the ball short of the line, passing the ball short of the sticks, these little pup passes for these jet sweep type things that go nowhere. To me, I just think it's an offense that's too gimmicky. And frankly, when you're down inside the 5-yard line, you've got Najee Harris. Last week you played the 29th ranked defense. This week you played the 32nd ranked run defense. And I think between last week, first and goal from the 5, and this week, that on that sequence, first and goal from the 5, and then again after they had the actually reset downs, I think honestly in 11 or 12 or 13 plays, Harris touched it once. He had the touchdown tonight where they finally said, okay, after 4 passes, and I think last week he ran it once. I mean, it's absolutely stupid.
Yeah, I hated the play calling, in particular when they were stopped on 4th down. When it's 3rd and goal at the 1 and you know you're going to go for it, I think Chris Collinsworth said it, and I agree with him. Hand it off to number 22 twice if you've already made your mind up that you're going to go for it. That's clearly the thing to do. I realize your hands are tied a little bit by your offensive line. You don't have a mobile quarterback. That makes play calling more difficult in that part of the field. Give it to 22. He clearly has a nose for the goal line. It's terrible play calling once again. And by the way, speaking of Najee Harris, that was a brutal cheap shot he took late in that game. Let's hope he doesn't have a concussion. If he can't play in Cincinnati next week, that's a big problem for this offense.
Yeah, but if you point your finger at another guy, you get flagged 15 yards and fined 50 grand. So we know the NFL has their priorities in the right place, Bob. You know, Canada, I thought, embarrassed himself last week with the 50 passes in the rain and the cold and the wind at Heinz Field. And really, that turnover on downs in the second quarter at the goal line cost the Steelers the game. They ran it on 2nd down with Najee, but then the next 2 play calls were unacceptable. A fade to Chase Claypool. He never comes down with those balls in the red zone. He's not that type of wide receiver. And then that idiotic shovel pass, which you just threw the ball back to Freiermuth with like 7 Chargers around him. They need to do what they did to score the touchdown late. Derek Watt, Zach Banner. It's like finally Canada gave up and was like, I guess I should try this. And it worked. And it was like he like didn't want to admit that that's what he was supposed to do, but he finally did it and it came through.
Yeah, it's too much finesse and fancy this and that. It's quite frankly football. You know, run the ball. You have a guy who can soar through the air for 5 yards, for God's sakes. Put him in there. We got to take a break. And when we come back, we'll look ahead to next week. Cincinnati Bengals on the horizon. That's next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.